process of becoming a runner teaches you so much about life, in my opinion. You talked about how you had this goal to run a half marathon, 13.1 miles. But you didn't start with 13.1 miles. You started with small, achievable steps. You started with a 5K, and then you went up to a 10K. And I think one of the reasons why people fail at their goals is that they try to go too fast, too soon.
Yep. You have to be willing to be bad at it in the beginning. I don't care what it is. You have to be willing to be bad at it in the beginning.
I love that.
Because there's no way. Girl, it's like me waking up right now and telling you, Cynthia, I've never done boxing, but I'm going to take on Mike Tyson. And then you'd be like, are you okay? Are you mentally okay?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Welcome to another episode of the Two Naija Girls podcast. I'm one of your Naija girls, Cynthia, and we have another Naija girl,
Jubilee. Yes. What's up?
Yeah. Okay, so we're in the season of goal setting, intention setting, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And my good friend Jubilee here ran a half marathon last year.
Respectfully,
honestly,
please.
Respectfully, a half marathon. She said it's 13.1 miles. Don't forget the one.
Please don't, because it's disrespectful too.
It's disrespectful to leave out the one. She ran a half marathon last year. So part of what we're going to explore is how she trained herself and stayed consistent enough to be able to do that. But also, for you, some of you who have been following this podcast, I visited Jubilee a couple of months ago, and because of Jubilee now, I'm a runner. She rubbed off on me. And I've been running ever since I visited her.
And I'm feeling very proud of your running abilities.
Right? Because the thing with running is that it's really hard to get into running shape, which is why I feel like it's a perfect topic to use to discuss like goal setting. After I got into shape, I was like, you know what? I'm just a runner now. Yeah. That's my identity now. Because if you get out of shape, it's hard to get back into shape.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And it's tiring too.
It's exhausting. It is exhausting. And so for me personally, I run about 2 to 3 miles depending on the weather and all that stuff every day. I try to do it every day. And 2 to 3 miles is hard. So we're going to switch over to Miss Jubilee now. Talk us through how you prepared to run 13.1 miles. And then we're going to go into what that 13.1 miles felt like. Okay, go.
Okay. Just like 1, 2, 3, go. No, but seriously, first of all, I want to establish that I'm not a runner. I started running. Okay. I started running at the beginning of 2024. That's it. That's when I started running.
No, but you're a runner now. How would you say?
No. In the beginning, I wasn't. So I want to make it.
Now, everybody in the beginning, they're not.
I want to establish the foundation of when I made the goal to run a half marathon.
Okay, all right.
So when I decided that I wanted to run a half marathon at the end of it, because I put down like 3 goals that I wanted for myself. I was like, okay, 1, I wanted to be able to run a half marathon, and then 2, I wanted to learn how to swim, and then I left like the third one open for myself at the beginning of the year as my resolution. Or the goals that you set for yourself. I don't like doing big goals. I like to do 3 things that I know that I can actually focus on through the year.
Achievable.
Literally.
That's a bar. That's a bar. So like some people I feel set too big. The goals are like too big or too abstract sometimes. And that in setting the goal, you've already set yourself up to fail.
Yep.
But yes.
And so when I decided I wanted to run the half marathon, I could not run 3 miles. In case you were wondering, like I could not even, I'm running a whole mile and I'm breathing like I'm about to die. But then I said to myself, I was like, if I apply myself, I'm like, I can do this at the end of the year. So it gave me something to like focus my mind on, but not just that, it gave me like a goal to achieve like through the year. And so it was like from running 1 mile, like I started running, I'll be like, oh, okay, let's do 1 mile. Let's do 1 mile. And I went on to like 3 miles and I stayed with 3 miles for a very long time. And I started to move. But then I was like, we can't just jump into running a half marathon, madam. We need to do something. So I decided to sign up for a 5K and a 10K.
Okay.
But it helped me because when I did the 5K and then I moved on to do like the 10K. So I was like, okay, it's possible. I can actually do this. I can actually get there to run like a half marathon. Did I still have doubts? Yes. Did I question myself? Yes. Did I share this opinion with my family members and everyone, and everybody thought I was crazy? And my family members kept on asking me, why am I running? What's the point? Who am I running from? See, you know what about Nigerians? Run is not really, first of all, exercising is not really our thing.
No. It's not even in like workouts in general. It's just now like people are starting to, because we're a culture that
enjoyment,
we're a culture that elevates enjoyment,
yes,
and the relaxed life,
yes,
and stuff like that.
Soft life,
and
that's all.
Soft life, exactly. And culturally speaking, we're talking about aesthetically, like beauty. The idea of beauty culturally is like people who are like on the big side,
yes,
people who are like thick,
yes.
So yeah, workout is not our thing, but yeah, continue.
But yeah, so I'll tell everyone, and then they were just like, yes, they were like, what are you running from? My mom's like,
what are you running from? That is hilarious.
The next episode was like, you disappear. Look at how tiny you are. You disappear. And I was just like, I'm gonna do this.
She had a point, but continue.
Actually, you know what's funny is that it wasn't just my family, because even some of my friends here were saying the same thing. That, oh my God, they're like, running is like a lot of cardio. You're gonna lose all that. I was like, don't worry about me. But here's the truth, right? Honestly, you just gotta do it. I don't know how to explain it. Like with the running, I think you just gotta do it. But I think the biggest thing that helped me, I'm one person who's very self-motivated. So you really don't need to tell me I need to, because when I needed to prepare, I knew I needed to prepare for my race. So I'll wake up like I'm not even kidding, in 20-degree weather, put all my gloves and everything, and I'm running in it like a crazy person. One day, because I'll take my husband, obviously. I
am that crazy person now. I bought this thing. Do you know the thing they call the balaclava, like the ski mask?
Yes.
I bought a ski mask for running in like
exactly
cold weather. But yeah,
because when you want it, you're just like, and also honestly, once you get into the rhythm of it, when you miss a day or two, you're like, you can feel that you've missed a day or two. You know that you've missed.
Yeah,
because it's part of your routine. And for me, it helps me clear my head a lot. So it's just like when I'm running, I'm just like, listen, it's just me and my feet and my mental, because you get to a point where when you're running, I don't care who you are, you get to a certain mile and then your body just wants to stop. All you can think about is stopping. Like, I do not want to do this anymore. And now this is where like the actual mental work kicks in, because then you have to be like, for me, I always say, Julie, it's mind over matter. Like, I have to remind myself,
mind over matter.
I have to keep reminding myself, especially like here in Boston, where everywhere is an uphill. Like, everywhere is an uphill.
Atlanta is very similar too.
So it's like
even the small stretch I run outside my apartment, you go up like 2 hills. So it's going and then 2 more coming back.
So when you're doing it, you're just like, why? Sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm running, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why? Who sent me? Who asked me? There are days that I say to myself, why are you motivated? Why you, like, why were you born this way? You should have been that person who sits on the
couch potato.
But when I finish it, that sense of accomplishment. So honestly, to be honest with you, it was just more practice. I was just running more. And every time I'll run and get comfortable, like, for example, I'll run like 3 miles, and then I got comfortable with 3 miles, and then I moved on to 4 miles, and then I moved on to 5 miles. And then my friend who introduced me to running created like a running schedule for me to prep me for the half marathon. Now, that was the schedule that I followed, like, very strict, where it was like I was running like 5 miles, and then I have 1 day off. So I only took 1 day off in between, and then I was running every other day during the week leading up to the marathon, to the half marathon. And then on half marathon day, I was feeling very sick. I was feeling on the day that I was feeling very sick. I was exhausted. And you know when you're feeling sick, how you're just exhausted, you're just tired. And it was a cold, it was a goddamn cold day. It was cold. Like, I'm telling you, my brain almost froze. But then, when I got there, I kept on saying to myself, and my husband was with me, and I looked at him and I said, why didn't you stop me? Like, why are you so goddamn supportive? Why can't you be like, nah, don't do this? He was like, no, you can do that. I'm like, shut up, you don't know me. I'm like, you don't know me like that. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Why? I'm like,
that is funny.
And I said to think to myself, I'm like, why am I surrounded by supportive people? Why?
That is hilarious.
And I'm like standing there, and when at the start line, I'm just like, I see, one thing I can tell you for sure is when I started the race, I remember starting. When I finally saw, I cannot tell you the in between. I cannot, because at some point I was no longer there, because I was just like,
wow,
I felt exhausted. I'm not gonna lie, like I felt exhausted, but
So just pause there, hold that thought. I just want to say, she's talking about running, but there's so many lessons about goal setting in general that are coming to me as she's speaking. And if you also read between the lines, you'll hear the messages about goal setting that she's talking about, and we'll expand on them shortly. But yes, continue. You were exhausted.
But yeah, I was feeling very exhausted. I was just like in between, and I kept on thinking, like I told you in the beginning. That's why I said I need to set the foundation. And I kept on saying to myself over and over again, I was like, Jubilee, at the beginning of the year, you couldn't run 3 miles. And then I'll look up and I'll see 8 miles, and I'll see 9 miles, and I'm like, I cannot believe like this is me. And then when I saw the 13 miles, and I could see the finish, like I could literally see the place that says the finish line, and then I crossed, because before I got to the end, I literally looked back and I saw the amount of people behind me, thousands. I'm not talking about hundreds, thousands of people behind me, and I just thought to myself like, God damn, sorry, I have to curse because I was just like, God damn, motherfucker, we did this. God damn. I was like, I cannot. And so when I got to the finish, I'm not even kidding, I just froze. Like after I crossed, I just froze for a second. I got so emotional. I got so overwhelmed with emotion because I was just standing there and I was just like, how, Sway? Like how? How? And but and then obviously my husband came, and then he was like, you did it. And I was like, I cannot feel my hip, I cannot feel nothing, but but it was good. It felt good. It felt really good. And I think my biggest takeaway from that on that day, especially when I was leaving, my mind just kept on saying, like, you're stronger than you think. Like, you're actually way stronger than you think. And I'm like, I'm badass, a little badass.
Just a little. That is so cool. That's awesome. So one of the first things I want to pick up on where it comes to goal setting in general is you talked about how you had this goal to run a half marathon, 13.1 miles. But you didn't start with 13.1 miles. You started with small achievable steps. You started with a 5K, and then you went up to a 10K, right? And I think one of the reasons why people fail at their goals is that they try to go too fast too soon. Right? And there's this idea of like false starts, right? And even it's funny, like the process of becoming a runner teaches you so much about life, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
Right, because like, so for me, for instance, when I started, running, the first few times around with Jubilee and her husband, the way they left me in the back was so funny. So I would start, I would stop. And then, I started to build up my stamina. I started to build up my endurance and all that stuff. But then I realized there's this place called the Atlanta Beltline. When you come to Atlanta, I'll show you. But for people who know, it's the Beltline, right? And the Beltline doesn't have any hills. So usually when I just want to run, I go to the Beltline. But what I realized is that when I start too fast coming back becomes a problem. Completing the miles, coming back becomes a problem, right? So I think one of the biggest lessons there is that in the beginning, you have to be okay with things going a little slowly. Because I think that's where people get overwhelmed, whether it's a business goal, whether it's a life goal, whether it's a health goal, whether it's a relationship goal. People get overwhelmed in the beginning because they want things to go faster. Right? Without acknowledging that our minds may be limitless, but our physical bodies are their limits, to what the body can do. And so they get discouraged too early before reaching the goal. I think that's what happened. So that's, for me, like when you said you first ran the 5K and then you ran the 10K, that's a huge lesson there for me, is baby steps. Start with baby steps. You know what I mean? So you can't go from, say, for instance, so for me, it was even easier for me to resume running again because I'd been working out. I hadn't been running, but I'd been working out. So my body had some sort of stamina and endurance already. So it was easy for me to pick up really fast. Like, I'm running 3 miles in almost about 30 minutes now because I run 2 miles in about 20 minutes,
There you go.
So, but again, like I said, you can't go from like not working out at all to wanting to run a half marathon.
No.
You have to be okay with things going just no, slowly, right?
No.
And then my next question to
I was gonna say the guy who ran the marathon, who was named after it, when he did it, he died because he didn't run. It wasn't an actual marathon. He was sent with a message to someone, right? And so he ran all the way, and when he delivered the message, that's the history of how marathon started. And then he died after he got there. But that's lack of training, let that be the example. And so obviously the marathon is named because of that particular incident. When you go back to the history of why a marathon is called a marathon. And so it's like you have to be willing to be bad at it in the beginning. I don't care what it is. You have to be willing to be bad at it in the beginning.
I love that.
Because there's no way. Girl, it's like me waking up right now and telling you, Cynthia, I've never done boxing, but I'm going to take on Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson. And then you'd be like, are you okay? Are you mentally okay?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, it's almost like you have to pay your dues to be good at something. It's why one of the reasons why one of my favorite books in this world is called Outliers, where it talks about the amount of hours that you have to put into something. He talks about how you have to put in 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. So you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, you have to keep going to be really good at it, at whatever it is that you're doing. And I think another thing that pulls people back is, right? And especially in this world of social media, unfortunately, is when you want to start something, yes, let someone be your inspiration. But remember that they're inspiring you to do something or to reach a goal that they have already reached, which they have worked years for to get to.
Is that instant gratification thing, right? Yes. People want to see things like quick.
Yes. Most people are like, oh, but don't worry. By the end of the year, I'm going to be like this person. No.
Yes.
That's not how it works. You have to put in the practice. You have to do the work. You have to do all of those things and then get there.
Right. Yeah. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway, I loved when you said, you have to be okay with sucking at things in the beginning. It's not that I hadn't developed a running schedule before. So in 2018, 2019, that's the year. And I showed you photos of myself that year. Like my abs were abbing. Everything was, where it was.
You were ripping the ripple.
I was ripped in 2018.
I love it.
But my workout routine involved CrossFit training and running. So I would run in the morning and do CrossFit training in the evening. So I'd done it before, but then people know that thing called pandemic happened and all habits dropped.
That's true.
That thing, So over the pandemic, my habits dropped. And that's the thing with habits that you've built painstakingly. The moment you drop them, it's so hard to build them back up.
Very true. Very, very true.
Which is why consistency matters. And I feel like people who reach their goals are people who are willing to continue to try again, regardless of how many times you stop.
Very true.
I was bad at it. Like, Jubilee and her husband were way in front of me. In fact, when they finished, they had to turn around. Remember
but you're not bad at it. That's the thing. Here's what the interesting part is. You literally, before we even started, you were like, I'm just going to go at my own pace. Those were your exact words before we started. So it's not, I don't think that you're bad at it. You just acknowledge hey, I haven't gone running in a while. So I'm going to go at my own pace. And it was just like, okay, and that's good. And then you went at your own pace. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you completed it.
I finished it.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing. When we went
up the hill, I did it. But the point I was trying to make is that imagine if I had let ego and be like, oh, Jubilee and Francois in front of me. This running thing may not be for me, and then I give up. You know what I mean? So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
Because in that moment, but you know what? I laughed over it. Like when we met up, we were laughing, we gave each other high fives, And I feel like that's the joy you have to bring into any goal.
I agree.
And that's the kind of joy that will sustain you in that goal.
Yeah.
But now, just like you, and it's just been a couple of months, of September, October, November, this is 4 months now.
Yeah.
Now, just like you, it doesn't matter how cold it is outside. If I'm working out, I'm working out.
Yes.
If I'm going to work out, I'm going to work out. I have my jacket on, I have my hoodie, whatever I need. And I was remembering that just around the same time last year, I would peep outside, to see if I'll work out. The cold would chase me back inside. These days, it's just like my mind is just set on, I am going to work out. Nothing is going to stop me from working out. I love it.
This one makes me happy. Yes, I love it.
Right, you know what I mean? So that's my mindset now. So that brings me to my next question. So did you at any point picture yourself as someone who completed a half marathon?
No.
Right? So, oh, wow. Okay. Talk me through that.
No.
Talk me through that.
No. Because I don't know, running was just one of those things that when I heard someone was running, I'm just like, why? Because I could let me do any other workout, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I think I don't think it was that. I think
running is hard.
I think
it might be one of the most challenging forms of workout, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. But yeah, tell me.
I have to look into the camera. What?
Right.
No, seriously, it's like I just did not. Like when I tell you I did not, I just did not. I was, and I think that was the thing, right? Because usually for me, it's like if I want to do something, I picture the end of it. I picture me in that moment. I picture myself exactly. But the half marathon one, I could not see it.
So if you could not see it, what was the process of setting that goal like then? Because I feel like at some point you kind of have to visualize, like something. It might not be visualized finishing a half marathon, but yeah, talk me through what that process of setting the goal felt like.
It just felt more like I said to myself, so this, especially 2024, I really wanted to put down 3 things that I just took me out of my comfort zone. That was my biggest thing. I was like, what are the things that will remove me from my comfort zone? Running was absolutely going to remove me from my comfort zone, which was my thing. So that's one of the reasons why I could not see it, because I was just like, these are things that if I had sat with someone and they told me, I'll be like, even if you paid me, I will not do it, let alone do it for free. So when I was setting it, I didn't see the end, but but I knew I was capable of pushing myself to get to it, if that makes sense.
So my takeaway from that is, even in the process of saying, I want to do something that gets me out of my comfort zone, that was a form of visualization.
I get what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, whatever the end of that thing looked like, just saying, okay, I want to do something that gets me out of my comfort zone was some sort of visualization.
Yeah, right, because and one of the reasons why I wanted it that way was because every time I would set a goal for myself, like I've mentioned, not to toot my own horn, but toot. But I'm just one of those people where it's like,
is it not you that told someone a few episodes ago, toot your horn
because you have to.
Toot your own.
But no, seriously, I'm just one of those people. I've always been self-motivated. So if you put something in front of me and you tell me to do, I'll just go. I will push once I get it.
One of the best books I've read on setting habits is Atomic Habits.
Oh my God, I'm reading it again.
Right?
I read that book like 5 million times in a year.
I think a lot of people read it like at least once a year.
You have to.
Start
it's such a good book.
Right.
Oh,
it's such a good book. It's so well written.
Oh, yes.
However, I can't even remember when I made this switch. But yeah, it's a very good book. But I can't even remember when I made the switch. But at some point I made a switch, and rather than set goals, I started to set intentions. Right? And the difference between goal setting and intention setting is, with intention setting, instead of asking yourself, what do you want to do? You're asking yourself, who do you want to be? Or how do you want to be? So with goal setting, for instance, you can say, okay, New Year resolution, I'll work out every day. But what does that workout mean for you? That begins to enter the realm of intention setting. What does that workout do for you? That begins to enter the realm of intention setting. So for me, when I say I work out every day, it's not about vanity. It's about the way workout makes me feel.
Yeah, some sort of attachment.
Right. It's about the way workout makes me feel. So that's where, again, it starts to enter the realm of intention setting. Workout makes me feel good. Like, it's funny, when I realized this as a Naija girl, I was like, white people were onto something, because back home, when we're looking at workout and stuff, we're like, this is like white people shit,
But when you trek, from one place to another in that hot sun, that's your sauna and your workout. When you really think about it.
But when I started to feel the not just the physical impact, but the hormonal, emotional impact of workout, I was like, white people were onto something. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it makes me feel really good. Like, for me, mornings when I start with workout versus mornings when I don't start with workout, there's a clear difference between the way my day goes, right?
Yes.
And I think this is another area where people make mistakes with goal setting, is they set goals that are beyond their control instead of setting goals based on what they can control. So I'll give you an example. So I want to get 3 clients a week.
Okay.
That's not within your control. What is within your control are the activities you can do to possibly get 3 clients a week. You know what I mean? So say for instance, you want to post content every day. Now that's something within your control. Now, whether the content you post will actually bring the 3 clients you want every week or not, that's beyond your control. So I think these are like some of the places where people...
saying.
Right. So again, it's about thinking about like what is within my control and how do I want to be? Who do I want to be? One of the most transformative years of my life was I think 2022. And it was transformative because I somehow became part of a team that helped build a 7-figure business in less than 90 days. And I remember my mantra that year was, how does a 7-figure entrepreneur show up every day?
Yeah.
That was the question I kept asking myself. And so I started taking up activities. So what are things that I do? If I'm already that person who I desire to be, what would I be doing now? And I started doing those things now. And so for me, this is why like visualization is very important in my opinion, because it's like you kind of have to have an idea, you know, how you're wanting to feel, who you're wanting to be.
Oh, yes.
And then you can reverse engineer the process and start to putting those activities that lead you to who you want to be. Right. So yeah, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, yeah. So I'm listening to you because I'm like thinking to myself, because I'm taking the example that you gave of working out.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons why people get attached to working out is because of the end result, which is the hormones, right? The happy feeling, the happy hormones.
Right.
Because through the process, you're not feeling any of those happy hormones in the process.
Right.
It's at the end that you feel that, right?
Right.
Which then comes down to, because of the example that you're giving about like, I want to be a billionaire. How does a billionaire show up every day, right? Now you're attached to the feeling of being a billionaire. Does it make sense? So that's what gets you through that.
Yes, the difficult
That's
part.
what gets you through because you've worked on your mind, you've visualized it, you've sat in it, you feel like a billionaire, you know what it feels like to be like a billionaire in your mind because you've created it, right? And so that's what gets you through
the difficult
part.
And it's funny, what you said relates to what I tell people who I work with, like on their content, on their businesses and stuff like that. So one of the first things I always try to determine when I work with people is how much do you even love the business? This is where the idea of passion starts to come in, right? Because it's like, how much do you even love that business? How much do you love what you're doing? Because it's going to get hard sometimes. It is going to get hard sometimes.
80%.
It's that
80%.
Passion,
There's
80%,
no
80%. And it's that passion, is that love for what you're doing that helps you go over the hump. As you were running the 13.1 miles, was there any time you stopped to walk? Talk me through that.
I think one of the things that people do not know, and the misconception is you run the entire thing without stopping.
Yep, I had that misconception too until you corrected me.
No. You need to walk, honey. You need to walk to drink your water. You need to walk to enjoy your gels. Except now, like there's professionals.
Replenish yourself.
Yes.
Interesting.
So there's professionals who do this, like they finish it in like, let me tell you, the day I ran the half marathon, they had professionals running. I was running past my 3-mile mark and they were running past their 8-mile mark. Let that sink in. Thank you.
Wow, it's sinking in.
And I'm just like, what is it? What is it?
It's kind of superhuman.
So except you're at that level, now that's different. Then there's non-stop. You just go. Keep your heart rate at that's different. But most of the time you pace yourself. So for example, someone like me, when I was training, I trained and I told myself, okay, I'm gonna stop so I told myself I'm gonna stop every 3 miles. I'm gonna stop, get some water, and then what's it called? Get my gel if I need to. Right? If I'm feeling exhausted, whatever, have my gel and then keep it pushing again. Or any snack or whatever it is that you prefer. Because some people prefer to just carry a snack. So, and the thing about stopping is like, you're not just going to stop and just walk. So before you stop, you need to identify something within eye distance where you're like, that tree, I'm going to walk to that tree. And then you walk to the tree. And then once you get to the tree, don't change your mind. Don't say, let me add, no. Go. Because
you start going again.
Yes, because the moment you start to like, the mind... running is going to teach you. Running is going to also teach you that the mind is a tricky thing. No matter how that you are, the mind is, if you get to the point where you say you're going to start running and you don't, and you move the goalpost, your mind is going to keep moving the goalpost because your mind is going to be like, oh, We can't move the goalpost.
I guess we can do this.
Yes. Because your mind doesn't know that that's the boundary. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? I suppose like if your mind knows this way or stopping this way and you continually do it, every time you get there, your mind is like, come on, you said we're gonna run here. We're not running, we're walking. Come on. And then it keeps you going. But yes, child, you gotta girl, you gotta walk.
So the most important bit I wanted to pick from that is, in as much as we talk about goal setting and all that stuff, the importance of rest too. So to me, like, people see rest as this thing that they are doing that's away from their goals. I actually see rest as part of the process.
Yes, so.
I actually see, like, rest is one of the most productive things that you can do. So it's again, like, think about working out. Like, scientifically, it's been proven that if you're trying to build muscle, if you're trying to, whatever it is you're trying to do, you don't rest, your body doesn't have the chance to build itself back up. And it actually starts affecting your routine in the opposite way. I call it disrupting the pattern.
Yes.
So I feel like, again, like, as human beings, if we're in the same pattern over and over again, so think about me, for instance, I work from home. Wake up in the morning, go work out, sit at my desk, eat lunch, sit back at my desk, blah, 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 and then 5 p.m. I come to my couch. That pattern, after a while, it gets stale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to do something to disrupt the pattern. And what I realized is that when I do that something to disrupt the pattern, I get inspired, like creativity.
Yes.
Like creativity is heightened. Me, I know my triggers. I know when I'm starting to feel like a little overwhelmed. I know when I start to feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel, just going and going. And I'm like, okay, it's time to disrupt the pattern. And I just do something that's outside of my usual routine. Yeah. You know, and then again, I just feel so much better after.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good that you take that time for yourself, because that's so freaking important, man.
It is very important. Yeah. It is very important. So is there anything else you have to add on goal setting and all that stuff?
No, I'm just going to say, don't put 10 things on your. I mean, if you're
step by step.
If you're a 10 list person, go ahead.
Right.
But I think that it's important to go ahead.
You do you, boo.
But no, I think it's so important to like set goals for yourself that you know you will not be worn out from by the end of the year. Like something that you know you can work through the year.
Yes.
And honestly, if you only have one goal for the entire year, that's actually beautiful. Because now you're going to put all of your energies towards one thing.
Into that one thing,
decide that you're going to, you want to set two goals. But when you're able to put your energy into that thing, it's just, honestly, you just excel at it. That's just the truth. Yeah. But that's about it.
Well, so for me, I'm setting intentions. My intentions for next year are freedom, peace, joy, abundance. Just taking it to the next level.
Abundance. I love abundance.
taking it to the next level with the freedom, the peace, the joy, and the abundance. And so whatever contributes to my freedom, to my peace, to my joy, to my abundance, that's what I'm going to be doing. That's where y'all going to find me.
Mine is definitely peace, like for sure. Like every year I don't play with my peace. Like you see peace?
Yeah.
If it's not going to bring me peace, there's no need.
Right.
Right,
I feel you. I feel that.
I don't think I have any more room or capacity to sit and keep explaining to someone why I need to have peace in my life, if that makes sense.
Yes,
and if you're confused, it's like, oh my God, you're always fighting for peace. Like life is not that stable. Okay.
Yeah.
To you.
That's
not to me.
To you. Not that is a rule that you have agreed to live by. Don't impose that on me.
I'm not gonna be part of it. I'm okay. Right. I'm okay where I am.
Right.
That's okay too. We all don't have to be friends.
Life is not stable.
We all don't have to be in the club. Girl. We're not all friends.
Girl, heavy on the to you. Heavy on that.
I'm like, in the club, we're not all friends. We don't all have to be there. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, so right.
But yeah.
If you're watching this and you have any goals, intentions, or whatever that you feel like we might be able to help you out with or support you with some of our episodes next year.
Yes.
Put it in the chat. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
May this be your best, most freeing, most peaceful, most joyous, and your most abundant year yet.
Abundance. Very important. I love that word. Abundance. ASMR. Abundance. Abundance.
This has been the Two Naija Girls podcast. I'm Cynthia, and we have the other Naija Girl.
Jubilee.
We will see you all next year.
See you all next year.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.